Words Come Alive is the Flynn Center's signature professional development program for teachers. Its goal is to make drama and movement a natural part of every classroom. Flynn teaching artists work collaboratively with teachers to create effective ways to meet the teacher's curricular goals while simultaneously building expressive skills in the students. We follow an arts integration approach, which means we value both the learning in the art form as well as the subject area, and we aim to develop understanding and skills in both.
An ensemble is a word we use when we are acting to talk about how when actors are working together to make something happen, they are working together like a system. We are many actors, and we have to watch each other and listen to each other and pay attention to each other to get our job done. So today, when we're doing our work, we are watching for you to be working as an ensemble, working together to get our job done of our creative work. Today, the system that we're going to create is a car.
Teachers were finding that the element that connected theater and systems was that there was a system. It was simply that there is a system in theater, and there is a system, obviously, in so many scientific topics in the world. Today, together, we are going to be problem solvers. We are going to be solving problems as actors, and we are going to be solving problems as mathematicians. And the way we're going to be doing that is we are going to be acting out math problems. So, the math problems all have to do with frogs. So if we're going to act out math problems that have to do with frogs, then the first problem we need to solve is how can we as people become frogs? In each lesson that we do, we look to think of an essential question that connects the art form with the subject area. What we're looking at, our question for today is how can our bodies and our voices, how can we use those to show our understanding of force and motion?
What is the job of the motor? The motor is one of the parts. What is the job that the motor does?
To make the car move so you don't have to walk everywhere, you can actually drive somewhere and make it quick.
Make the car move.
The warm-ups specific to theater address the theater elements, which are simply body, voice, and imagination.
Let's see, I'm going to brainstorm just for a second a movement we could make with our body that could help express the job of the motor, make the car move. My first idea that I have is make the car move. Make it move. Make it.
This process causes the children to become more aware of those elements and also to develop an awareness of the unlimited possibilities of using them.
So we're going to start by doing an activity like we've done in the morning when we're greeting each other and we're sending something around the circle. But this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. Instead of me just waving my hand, I'm going to come over to Danielle and I'm going to take her hand and I'm going to pose her so she's waving to you. One thing that I noticed about the kids is that they would become so excited when we were going to be doing an acting exercise or something with Words Come Alive that sometimes it was hard for them to contain their excitement. And they'd want to just get up and get going and get to it. And one of the things that a lot of the acting exercises did for them too is to, as we worked through the years, to teach them to focus and concentrate a little bit more.
Okay, so it looks like we have changed our bodies, so we've solved that problem, how to become frogs. A lot to think about. Somebody said, we can't do this the whole time, but if you're actors, what do you have to do? The whole time. Because we're actually teaching them acting, we want them to really be conscious of all of their decisions and what are the most effective ones to be a frog. And that causes it, again, for them to really break it down in their wonderful little minds to think, let's see, how would I be a frog and what would I look like?
We're going to use this area is the pond and right here's the log, just like we did. Let's take a look at what the problem says, mathematician.
6 frogs on the log.
Some jumped in the water. How many frogs are in the water?
All ultimately, it helps them build acting skills as opposed to be thinking to themselves, oh yeah, it was a frog. They don't realize that you could be a frog and be an actor and really actually be quite successful in this world. Your bodies, all of your bodies are going to be formed by someone else being an inventor. And the inventor is going to move your body to make your body into a ramp. In theater, we provide them with a very clear structure from which to work, and then encourage them to use as much creativity as they possibly can within that structure.
Does anybody have a second idea for how you could add yourself to Ms. Maggie's machine? Let's see, who hasn't had a chance to? Katie, would you go in? Let's see what Katie does. You can be any part you want to, Katie.
If you're just hearing about it and it's just kind of boring, just listening. But if you do it, it's more, you could do more than just sit and listen.
Ms. Maggie, what we want to do is give them a chance to pair up, and together, very quickly, each partner pick a different part to be and work together to become two parts of a car working together.
Scientists, they often, when doing an experiment, they're trying out different things to see what works. They try it one way, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and they have to adjust and make it better and make it work. And an actor does something very similar. When an actor's trying out a scene, sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't, and they need to go back and make changes and make it better. So each inventor is going to get a chance to show their invention, their ramp for rolling a ball down. They're going to show their invention, and the audience is going to react. And when we react, we get to say one word. We say, oh. We have to think about how we'll say it and what gesture we might use based on what we see.
In starting with the word oh, which of course is a very easy word to read, but also it is the most expressive word in the human language. It's used absolutely throughout all cultures. And so to get them to think about all the different ways that oh can be said is just kind of opens them up to all the artistic choices. But in this particular case, it also gave them the opportunity to react to each other.
I think they were able to really see for themselves how the ramps had to be positioned, what angles they had to be at, so that the ball would be able to roll continuously without getting stuck in the middle or stopped on the way. I really saw a huge growth in their confidence just being able to stand up in front of a group and speak and act out things.
It's actually a lot harder for me sometimes because sometimes I say I have stage fright.
Okay, let's see it. All right, this is Sven and Asia. Your machine will come to life when the lights come up. Action.
Once the performance pieces are done, the children either all perform simultaneously or they volunteer to perform for each other.
2, 1.
Make it go.
We encourage teachers to model risk-taking.
Make it go. Make it go. Make it go. Make it go.
Building the audience into it encourages observation and, of course, builds comfort with performing and self-esteem.
When you do the movements and you say the words, it kind of makes like this whole thing, a car or like something, and it's like really fun.
Go. Make it 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 go.
Make the connection. There you go. Okay, go ahead, Sarah. By making ramps with our bodies, the children were able to then take those feelings of how those ramps worked, how the balls were able to roll down their ramps, what was successful and what was not, and then use that knowledge when we built actual ramps out of paper towel tubes and blocks and other materials.
One day, there were 10 frogs sitting in the water, all looking up with their great big eyes, sitting as still as can be, looking up and to the side and all around for those flies. Mathematicians, how many eyes do you see?
Studies have shown that 47% of us are our main learning element is kinesthetic. So they got involved in the math problem, but they also got involved in a way that had a standard, that had some valuing of it. How are you going to be that frog, and can you maintain frogness?
Oh, I like how Tyler showed he was swallowing.
And freeze! And that's the end of the story. Because acting is such an intuitive process, we always end with reflection questions so the kids can think about what they have done and what they've seen.
Everybody had a chance to be an actor and a mathematician, and I want to know how the acting helped you. Caleb.
First, I counted them by ones, but my first answer was 18. And I was like, wait, that can't be right. So I counted again, and then the answer was 20.
So how did having the actors help you with that?
Because I looked up at my board, like, make sure I had 10, so I counted.
This nurtures the metacognitive connection with the work and helps children grow more conscious of what actors do and to evaluate their own progress in building those skills.
From this experience of making parts of cars, I really think it's cool that the motions that we created for it really help me to think about what the car would look like as kids.
I learned that acting is like a job, but it's not horrible to do. It's really fun, and you get to show a lot of emotions.
Raise your hand if you can name a moment when you really felt like people's bodies and voices were working together. How could you tell that you were working in a system? Sadie.
Because when you said 10 times faster, we all went really faster with our hands or whatever we were moving. And we also used our voices even louder so they knew we were going faster. And we also did our own voices instead of getting mixed up with all the others. When you actually think about it, you actually get into it and you like to do it. And even if it's your first time, just try it out. And well, if you don't like it at first, try it again and you might actually like it. So we all like acting, and that's fun.
So good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm very excited today because we are going to look at a Shel Silverstein poem. I know we've been looking at him for a while now, and we're going to be doing some movement with a poem to help us give us a deeper understanding of the poem.
We begin with creating an essential question that provides a connection between the art form and the subject area, and that is what leads our way into the exercises.
The crocodile's toothache. The crocodile went to the dentist and sat down in a chair, and the dentist said, "Now tell me, sir, why does it hurt and where?" And the crocodile said, "I'll tell you, I have a terrible ache in my tooth." And he opened up his jaws so wide, that the dentist, he climbed.
Words Come Alive has been very helpful in our school and with me personally as a teacher. It's really helped me to expand and think of teaching things in different ways. It's helped the kids learn a lot because they actually get to learn things through a different mode.
We were learning about the human body, so we learned about like how signals go back and forth, like when someone tastes something disgusting or they don't like, it gives a signal, or if they touch something hot, or if they see something they want to pick up,
the signal travels to the brain, and the brain processes and says, okay, what's going on? Yes, I want to do this. So send the signal to that part of the body to do this.
Let's imagine that our whole body was our mouth, and something bad, we just tasted something with our whole body.
The warm-ups for dance specifically relate to the elements of dance, and they are energy, space, and time. And when we do the warm-ups, we always show the kids different aspects of the elements that they're focusing on, which really causes them to be much more conscious of the absolutely unlimited artistic choices possible to them in using those elements.
So our whole body is this mouth, and it has something weird, bad tasting in there. So thinking about energy is how you move. So the first is can you move your whole body in a way that is very sharp? I want to see lots and lots of sharp energy in this while I count to 5. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3.
All the specialists work directly with the classroom teachers to basically reinforce each other's discipline. So as the PE teacher was reinforcing the nervous system, the classroom teacher would be reinforcing the value of PE.
We just worked on creating the first movement and the third movement, like Lana just said. So the traveling part, when the signal is traveling up to your brain, and then the signal is traveling back down to your hand again to tell you to move your hand, that's the traveling part. So we're going to create some moves that represent traveling.
It's been a great way to develop professionally because we now have collaboration meetings and we get to sit down and talk one-on-one with the classroom teachers and hear about what they're doing in the classroom and then think about ways that we can now incorporate movement to put more emphasis and to help teach the classroom curriculum.
Could you show me how to do it in a fast way with the energy of anger, but also sort of changing your speed somehow? Could you show me with your body? Can you show me just in your spot? How would you add to that move to make it even more of a dance? Good. So she's sort of going like...
What the teacher and the teacher learners were trying to do is to focus the kids on specific words that really affected the poem and the meaning of the poem.
We're going to do, kids are going to each have a chunk. You're going to work in small groups.
And I have copies of the poem for each group.
So you're going to have a little bit of time and you're going to pick 4 of the main words.
So what the kids did is they drew out words, and then those words they decided to make a movement for, and then they linked together the 4 words that they chose.
So let's try this. We're going to go from our 4 times, right, being our hand touching the hot stove, to traveling in a zigzag, which is our pathway of the nervous system to signal to the door. Now, how are we going to travel other than a zigzag? Are we going to jump? Are we going to swim? Are we going to... Who has an idea about how we can travel with our bodies? What do you think? Swim. Can you show me swimming in a zigzag right now? Ooh, great. So let's see it again. Let's see it again.
It's really fun and unique, and a lot of people have different moves and different dance styles. When we're making a dance, we work together as a team. We decide the same things, and we agree with each other.
Here we are as our brain. Now, this is where the brain gets the signal. So what do you imagine that movement might look like? If suddenly your brain is getting a signal, then it has to do something. What might that look like? What do you think? Oh, okay, like you're pumping up.
Making a movement for an operation is really what dance is all about, in that it's really intentional movement to express an idea. So in setting the kids a structure, a specific structure, then they allowed lots of creativity to go into working within that structure.
The crocodile went to the dentist, and sat down in a chair.
We've always thought of dance as being really to poetry what theater is to prose, in that it is a more of an abstraction. It is a simplification and a more conceptual approach to a written word. And so making that connection direct of the poem to the dance, we hoped would have the kids see that connection more.
And the crocodile said, "I'll tell you the truth."
Give them a round of applause. So we have learning what's going on is our jumping, and then this is the signal back. Are you suggesting that we add on to our jump? Ooh, so we're making a decision. I see, so we're getting the information and we're making a decision. So if we're in our circle over there, we do your move as a circle.
We lead the students to demonstrate their understanding of the subject area within the art form.
Great, so it's like a big circle. Let's try that all together. Ready, go. Good. She's keeping her elbows bent, right? Here we go. And she has one leg forward and the other one a little bit back. You want to see that? Good, here we go. Dramatic positions. Ready? Here we go. Nancy, what was your favorite part?
When we jumped from the plane,
Ooh, and what were you showing when we were jumping? Do you remember?
the signals that come to the brain, it tells the brain that the hand's touching the stove, and then the brain tells it to move away.
Ultimately, we take the words away from the dance in order for the kids to really focus kinesthetically and to develop their kinesthetic memory. And what happens is, forever, that poem and that dance are connected for them, so that they can see they've abstracted it because of that. They've abstracted the message of that poem into their dance. The bottom line of learning is it needs to be fun, and words come alive, it's fun. In addition to that, theater has been shown to be tremendously important in terms of transferring of skills of learning. And dance is the most misunderstood art form. If kids can come out of school knowing more about theater, understanding dance, wanting to do dance, and also learning their curricular material in a way that they can always remember, what more is there?